We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Hits with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good evening, everybody. I am with my boy, John Fitch. It is Mixed Martial Mindset. Another weekend of MMA coming up. We got the Bellator. We got the Fight Night UFC, John. But we also got Bilderberg 2023. Nobody's reporting on it. Literally,
I haven't heard anything about it at all.
why would you? There's only one reporter there, and I happen to be in contact with him. That's right. Like, you're actually at global breaking news that matters here. Charlie Skelton, who's written for The Guardian and other establishments now for over a decade regarding the Bilderberg Group. I call him one of the foremost knowledgeable experts as to who goes, why they go, how they interconnect. Charlie really needs to write a book at this point. And as of right now, as these people 100% are there, getting there, because Thursday is always the night, there is still not a peep from the official source here, John. As you can see, last year, they literally let out the list on the 2nd of June, late. So, again, it's always a 3-day conference. It's always Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they leave Sunday, okay? And they leave early Sunday. So they get there Thursday night. Usually by now, tomorrow morning, we have it. We still do not have it. Let me repeat. We still do not have it. And these are the power players. I promise you. These are the people you want to know about meeting, and no one in the meeting. No, there's one mainstream article in the entire world, according to the search engines out there. Let's show people that one article, everybody. I mean, you can't make this cartoon level shiz up. So let's go to it right now quickly, Fitch. This is Skelton right here. Please follow him at DYuk. He is literally there. He invited me to stay with him if I was going to Lisbon. I just couldn't. It was my niece's birthday today on top of every other thing. 14 years young, John. And in the great state of Iowa, she can now drive legally. It's insane. It's like the craziest thing in the world. Side note here, folks. Side note. Where is it? Here it is. So, does anyone have the attendee list? And Publico, which is, yes, a real international media outlet. Let's translate the tweet right here. The Bilderberg Group holds annual meeting in Santra, Marcello, and Costa can go to dinner. So this is it. There's one article out there. Let's get it into English from Portuguese. Please, let's do that. Can we get that? Can we get that change? Maybe we can't get that. It was supposed to be offered right there, but there it is right there. Yes. Black limousine villages without any kind of registration except for a bee on the windshield sometimes escorted by the police, other times not, were seen entering the hotel park of the Penalonga in Sinatra, June 1999. So basically, they're talking about the last time they were here. And now, after 24 years, the Bilderberg Group meets again in Portugal from the 19th to the 21st. So they're saying this is now next week, and it's not this weekend? I don't know. That could be a lie. Let's see what Skelton has to say. Because Skelton's pretty damn sure it's this weekend. I guess he might be right. Maybe I should I go to Portugal, everybody? If it's next weekend, should I go to Portugal? Is that the deal? Fitch, do I go to Portugal?
Go for it. These guys, it's just, I don't know at this point. They're telling people straight to their face, like, these aren't secret meetings anymore. They're just not covered. And the press will tell you, oh, well, it's just not newsworthy because no one cares.
Let me tell you something right now. It's damn newsworthy, and people should care. In fact, so this week, John, there is one article out there that actually talks about the Bilderberg Group. Henry Kissinger says he wants to call attention to the dangers of AI the same way he did for nuclear weapons, but warns it's a totally new problem. In the article, which is under a paywall, and I was only able to find through a specific search, they reference Bilderberg 2016 and its focus on artificial intelligence. So they recognize the importance of Bilderberg, the importance of Kissinger, how they talked about it 7 years, John, but they're not reporting on it in 2023.
Wild.
Let's talk where we're at the border. Whoa!
Nightmare.
Everybody's
nightmare.
What does everybody think of that? What do you think, John? Like, oh, we got the clock wipe. Maybe that should be the new transition, everybody. That was totally a mistake. But the clock wipe, that's whoop.
It's a mess, and nobody's doing anything. Nobody's talking about anything. It's like the government's on vacation.
Well, aren't they on vacation, basically, at the border? So, you know what? I have this video. I wanted to show this people behind the scenes because I'm going to talk about Mayorkas, and I'm going to talk about Blinken, and I'm going to talk about the people that are actually capable. Merrick Garland among them in the Biden administration. In other words, they damn well know exactly what they're doing, and they're destroying the country. It's on purpose, everybody. This is not a mistake. And I know I don't really talk about Title 42 and immigration on this channel too much. It's not something I focus on. You know, we don't talk about the great replacement theory here other than them replacing human beings eventually with robots. Don't get me wrong, voting blocks, I think that's an illusion. So they want the illusion that there will be more Democratic voters because when it comes down to it, most of these people crossing the border, guys, I hate to tell you, they end up voting red because they want family values. But again, imaginary, you know, when they get that vote, which isn't really legal, the Democrats say it's them, there are no audits, and we have a corrupt system. I'm not even allowed to say it. Mayorkas is saying, don't come, we're going to send you back, okay? This is real, all right? I was on AMP, my American Media Network, or American Media Periscope Network. Let me see if I can find it here. Here it is right here. So this is kind of like behind the scenes, John, of how they do a thing called VMix there. In other words, they do a thing where they direct everything, all right? So I check in and whatever. And what you're looking at in the top right corner here is one of the few journalists on the scene, okay? I don't think I took any audio on purpose. But he's literally in the middle of the border crossing.
Officers are stopping them right there. They're not letting them in right there.
Asking questions.
Like, he's at the river. Across the river is where they have National Guardsmen and barbed wire. He's on the other side. I think he's in Brownsville. So these are people that have already come over. All right? I'm not sure which side he's on, but it's like the police are there. They're doing nothing. Sometimes the National Guard is sending them back. He's never seen a rush like this in his life.
All I see everywhere is kids in cages messaging. That's how Trump was attacked. And they're doing the exact same thing with Biden.
You know, again, look at my Dawn there. She's a lovely lady. She's one of the producers over at AMP. This guy literally can't believe what's going on. We're waiting for the host so we can go live. The gentleman below him is like the little producer guy. He runs the show. But here, hold on one second. Let's see what he's got to say here. He's probably saying, why aren't we live?
How are we doing, guys? Are we getting going? Too?
We are in just a minute. You know what? Give me one more minute.
Poor Dawn. I mean, literally, you're watching the migrants cross.
I'm not going anywhere. I got my battery pack. So,
right.
That was my
I'm
name.
not going anywhere.
There's a lot going on here, so I got to cover it.
I know it. I know. 1 second.
He's one of the only people covering it. Like, literally. Like, I forget what his name is. I think, you know what? Let me look for his book. I believe it's called Overrun, and it's on immigration. Let's see. Overrun immigration book. There it is right here. Todd, that is Todd. Let's see. What's his name? Todd Bensman. And the guy's been a journalist for like 20 years covering this. And we're talking about, it becomes more and more sparse that any, mainstream media outlet wants to touch this. In fact, he's on Twitter. I'm following him now, so it should just come right up. There he is right here. Just so everybody understands this guy's accolades. Newsweek, New York Post, The Federalist, Daily Mail, former terrorism intel manager, recovering reporter. That's the guy. There he is, John. You know, it's not... Did you watch the Trump thing, by the way, last night?
No, I've only heard little pieces of it. I don't know. The idea that CNN is in opposition with Trump, why would they have him on the show? Like, they knew that would drive huge ratings. They had an audience that was very pro-Trump.
It's huge. I couldn't believe it. Well, here's the thing.
They're laughing, joking. It was just...
they cheered him on the whole time.
Stand-up. It was just a stand-up routine.
Look,
doing a vaudeville act.
I have to look at it this way, right? Because there are so many things that CNN did to prove that they didn't want the maximum amount of people to see the whole thing. Let me give you an example of that. They did not live stream it on YouTube. It would have been their highest YouTube ever. There's no doubt about it, especially at this point, John, right?
Yep.
So they didn't do that, okay? They didn't do the YouTube thing. They made it hard for you to find a full YouTube. Basically, people had to pirate it, okay? That's what I did. I think about it. This was the first town hall. Traditionally, you would make this available to the most amount of people. They frame it in the most negative manner possible to kick it off with little Leslie Stahl is what I'm calling her, because she might as well be the 60 Minutes lady going, no. She corrected Trump at every turn, bro, and she got booed. She got laughed at. He called her a nasty person and then made her shake. Yeah, but then he made her shake his hand 10 minutes later. It was hilarious. Good job. He goes, good job, he said. It was weird, man. And the audience standing owed him from the beginning to the end. They cheered him when he questioned the election. They cheered him when he said he would pardon January 6thers. Okay? And he gave the correct response to the Ukraine war. Have you seen that yet?
I did not see that, but he has been pretty consistent with being anti-war. That's one of the good things about him.
Let's do it. And basically, at every turn, what this woman tries to do is try to get Trump to toe the party line. What do we say here at CNN? Make Donald Trump agree with us at CNN. For instance, they try to make him say that Putin is a war criminal and he refuses. And they try to make him say that he wants Ukraine to lose the war.
Would you give Ukraine weapons
I was
and
impeached
funding?
by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question here is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were
I
elected?
would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in 1 day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in 1 day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
So let's just stop it. That's a really, I mean, she's got her script down, this white pantsuited demon. She's got it down. She wants it's crazy. Go ahead. You saw the first time.
Ladder climbing demon. That's a good way to put it. No, she had a job. She was an assassin. She was there to cut the throat. But he was very skillful as usual.
Look,
these people they don't listen to themselves, like, because on one side they're talking out of their mouth that you can't be jingoistic and want to fight wars and go America, but at the same time you got to be like, oh, my side has to defeat this other side in war and kill people, and they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They sound silly.
Well, what they want him to do is they want to, I think, further that ridiculous narrative that he's a puppet of Putin and, Russia helped win the election for him, all those other things. Look, there is no winner at this point. I guarantee you. The one thing I'll disagree with him on, first of all, I think it's a long shot he gets in. They're going to charge him criminally. I believe that he won in a landslide, and so does the audience believes he won in a landslide in the last election where he was in the position of the most power he would ever have, ever, and he wasn't able to do anything, okay? So we have to realize those things. But let's say he does get in. First of all, that's in 2024. We're a year and a half out from that.
He didn't do a damn thing the last 2.5 years of his presidency in the first place. So what's he going to do when he gets back in there? Argue with the press some more? Or is he actually going to, do something? Is he actually going to take a stand on things? He says he's going to pardon the J6 people. Is he? Or is he going to turn on them like he did with WikiLeaks?
Thank you. Thank you on that. Great conversation.
You got your votes. Sorry about your luck.
The thing is, even if he wants to stop the Russia-Ukraine conflict, we don't know where it's even going to be in 2024. And I think at this point, John, no matter what, it's going to take at least a week. It's not going to be 24 hours. NATO is backing Ukraine. NATO is backing Zelensky. We just happen to be the economic and military driving force for that, because we have a captive presidency, because we have people like Mayorkas and Blinken and Garland that are very capable, okay? They're not the stooges. I wouldn't say they're super impressive people, but they're good bootlickers. They know what the agenda is, and they're well-versed in the talking points that CNN wants to put out there. Let's put them up there talking about Pence, because this was another. I played a whole segment today, and we might go back to that. I might actually bring that video up of the classified documents, which he's 100% right, are declassified the moment he says they're declassified, because he's the president of the fucking United States. Okay? And she just argues with him and says, that's not what NARA is or does. Yes, it is. I was talking about it today, John. I don't know what kind of field trips you went on as a kid. Did you ever go to an ex-president's home?
An ex-president's home? No.
Well, I did. So in upstate New York, on the East Coast, a lot of history. I was in AP history, and I told the story today, but I vividly remember going there, one, because it was much later in my high school career. I was a junior, and it happened to be the day after my father died. So I wasn't even really supposed to go to school, and, everything's heightened after, like, a traumatic experience or whatever. And I went, And we went there, and one of the things that really drilled into my head was he's got the first presidential library. It's his estate. There's a historian there. There are a bunch of documents he took with him home to this estate that then went to the public. And while the curator was describing this stuff to us, he's like, well, there are still a few things that we're not allowed to look at. And he starts talking about the declassification process. And this is World War II. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's estate. And I'm thinking to myself, even then, this is 1996, everybody. I'm like, wasn't World War II end like 50 years ago? Shouldn't all of these be declassified by now? But this guy was a nice gentleman. He had some nice spectacles, John. He assured me it was okay. And then I think it's fair that we don't get to see him until they left. Sure, that's fair. So let me just reiterate just the cycle of that. Even back in the 40s, when you were the president of the United States, you decided what you took or what went into your estate, and sometimes it would be your spouse because Roosevelt would die in office, right? And then they would build something around it and kind of build your legend. That became the new thing. The Clinton and Bush libraries, etc., the Reagan ones. It's the thing. Trump was setting up the same thing for him. That's why he took... So just so everybody knows, the guy's got a huge ego. So what he did was he took the documents, literally, John, that made him look the best, that he thought were the most historic, 100%, okay? Mm-hmm. He negotiated that deal with NARA, 100%. That's what actually happened. And then, on the flip side, they acted like they were still classified, and the president didn't have the right to do that when they did, and then raided his place. And then showed pictures of what they said was illegal, which wasn't, by the way.
Empty folders.
Meanwhile, just so everybody understands what the Presidential Records Act means, it means the president can declassify documents, and then he can take them with him because he also has the secret mother trucking service up his ass for the rest of his life. They are with him. The rest of it, there is no protocol where you are a president or former president that the Secret Service is not with you literally 24/7. So that's part of the Records Act. Guess where that doesn't come into play? When you're Joe fucking Biden and you don't have the right to declassify any documents and you still take a bunch of documents with you. And Donnie T says he's got the number. You know what the number supposedly is? Take a guess. How many boxes of documents does Donnie T say Joey B took with him before he was the president? Illegally. Go ahead.
Oh, my goodness. You would think that frail old man wouldn't be able to carry more than one or two.
When you're a criminal cartel named Joey B and Company, before you're Dementia Joe, go ahead. One or two boxes? Come on, John. Do a little better.
Really?
Do a little better.
Goodness. These boxers going to be suicided? Did he get 10 boxes?
According to the Donald, 1,850 boxes of material is what he took with him before he was the president.
1,000 boxes.
1,850 boxes. And some of these things had to do with when he was a senator back in the day.
What the hell?
We'll play the classified documents clip in a moment, but first...
Like he's trying to erase some history.
Huh, you think? Do you think the guy who is the, son of a bitch Ukraine guy, whose son is the crackhead Burisma guy, you think he had some things maybe he wanted to cover up and hide? They got him by the balls. Unless they really want Joe Biden running again in a weird 2024 zombie like they did before, like for some reason, there's no way he's running. I mean, this is actual criminal stuff that he did. Okay, you know what? Let's bring that up first. We'll bring the Pence stuff up after that. Let's do it. We do it live. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Remember, I'm live Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11 a.m. I know that's ironic, everybody. Eastern time, Monday through Thursday, and then weekends. If you're premium, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, you get 2 extra interviews. It's like 10 hours of Bermas a week plus this. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, come on, guys. You got to be sick of me a little bit. Like I get sick of me. Trust me. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Here's Donnie T. And let's get to the documents section.
The center, he very well
Let's
could be re-elected president of the United States.
Boom. We'll start it right about 1:16. There we go. This is good right here. Oh, wait, no, it's 1:06. Sorry, I went 10 minutes too long. You want to get it right? Okay. Jack up the volume, and here we go.
Than anybody is Joe Biden. He has 1,800 boxes, and nobody even knows where they are. 1,800, and nobody talks about him.
Mr. President,
and they
that's not accurate.
And they put a rough guy on us, and they, in the meantime, they have nobody.
I think it's important, Mr. President, to actually set the record straight here. They took documents, including President or Vice President Pence. When they realized they had documents, they turned them back over. The difference is that you waited to turn yours over, and it was a year-and-a-half effort that included a subpoena with those documents. One question about what happened when you had those documents.
It included a raid on my house. That's what it included.
But
they didn't raid.
You'd gotten a subpoena, and they had not been turned over yet.
They didn't raid Biden's house. You know what happened? They put him in the house. That's the one with the Corvette, where the documents were laying all over the floor. That was fine. And you know who happens to be at Mar-a-Lago? Secret Service, and they're phenomenal. I have Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service. The other thing, the vice president cannot declassify. He didn't have the right to declassify. He has documents from when he was a senator. And even Democrat senators say, I can't believe it. No, I went by the Presidential Records Act.
That's not
and
what
we
the
were
Presidential
negotiating
Records
with
Act
NARA.
says. That's not what it says,
and
Mr.
NARA
President.
has red flagged a thing called the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights because they consider them
Mr.
dangerous
President, that's
documents.
not what it
Those
says,
are the people we're dealing with.
I should note that.
Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, yes. You know, notice how she's saying, no, that's not what it says. Look at the look on her face. And he's right.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
NARA has now gone the full, extra mile and said that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights are dated documents and they're dangerous. It's because of those documents that Donnie T was able to do what he was supposed to do. I think he describes it here coming up. But basically there was a huge clash with Richard Nixon, even after they got Nixon ousted by threatening impeachment. Remember, he never got impeached over Watergate. He resigned. I am not a crook. But he still wanted his fucking documents, everybody. And they had to cut a deal even with Richard Nixon. All right? Like, this woman is talking point CNN Central.
There is a special counsel investigating your document situation, also President Biden's document situation. When it comes to your documents, did you ever show those classified documents to anyone?
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they were declassified
What do you mean, not really?
after. Not that I can think of. Let me just tell you, I have the absolute right to do whatever I want with them. I have the right. I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely left group of people. Extremely left. And I was negotiating with them. All of a sudden, they raided my house. They didn't raid.
Did you hear the audience laugh at her? Which they're not left, they're bipartisan. I'm in a white pantsuit. I'm in a white pantsuit, John.
Take me seriously. Well, people take me seriously.
Raid the house of Joe Biden. They didn't raid Obama.
But Joe Biden didn't ignore a subpoena to get those documents back like you did.
And so that's the question. 1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you held on to the documents?
I was negotiating, and we were talking to NARA, that's Washington, to bring whatever they want. They can have whatever they want. When we left Washington, we had the boxes lined up on the sidewalk outside for everybody. People are taking pictures of them. Everybody knew we were taking those boxes. And the GSA, the government service, the GSA was the one taking them. They brought them down to Mar-a-Lago. We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house.
Listen to what he just said there again. The Government Service Agency, the GSA, took the documents out of the White House. put them onto the sidewalk at the White House while
People were taking pictures of them.
While the press
it wasn't like he snuck them in a van. He didn't sneak them into a van with black ops and people with masks on. Jared Kushner wasn't wearing pantyhose on his head.
You know what's hilarious? Glad you brought up Kush.
Buddy movie.
So I'm glad you brought up Kush. We were talking Bilderberg, 2008. Okay, because Kushner went in 2020. 2008 was the big year that they snuck a secret meeting with Obama in, where Obama was flown into D.C. with the press corps, okay, while he was running. And then the entire press corps flew away and Obama wasn't on the plane. And then they reported he was having secret meetings with Hillary Clinton. Guess who was on the Bilderberg 2008 guest list? Hill Dog. Hillary Clinton. Oh my goodness. You know who else was there?
Hillary. Got to give it to her.
Jared Kushner was there too.
Still stacking bodies after all these years.
Kushner was there in 2008 too, everybody. The son-in-law of Trump was there that same trucking year. That's why we talk about these things. So I'm going to let Trump finish this up. We're going to do the Pence thing.
They're all in on it. This is a setup. CNN set him up. They set up that chick too. They set her up.
Little Leslie Stahl. I mean, she's not going anywhere. Like, this isn't going to make her career. I can promise you that.
Biden has his documents. He won't give back the 1,850 boxes, and you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was Biden who alerted them that he had the documents. The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when you got a subpoena asking for you to turn them over?
We were negotiating with them as per the Presidential Records Act. We were negotiating with NARA.
That's not what the Presidential Records Act says.
But they got to love our Constitution a little bit more, and they shouldn't red flag it, by the way. Very nice people. We were negotiating with NARA, and that's what the Presidential Records Act says, because Richard Nixon, surprisingly, had problems, and he had a lot of problems dealing with NARA, and they ended up passing legislation called the Presidential Records Act just for this kind of a thing. We were dealing with them. We were talking. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Wait. We were talking to them. We would have done it, but all of a sudden they raided.
Telling him he was wrong, right? She kind of concedes there that he was right before saying he was wrong. That's not what it means. Well, okay. And then she immediately tried to pivot and switch to another question.
Bro, she does the same thing with the Pence thing, because she tries to say that Pence didn't have the right to basically not certify the election, which he absolutely had the right. That was the media talking point. Pence doesn't have the right to not certify. That's what the vice president, when it gets to a corrupt election, does have the right to do, and then send it back to the states for an audit, right? That was the big deal around January 6th, is that day was the day the election was going to be certified, and Mike Pence was going to certify it, and the media was all saying that there was no way, it wasn't allowed. Right? That's fake news that he can do that. 100% he could have done that. And they start talking about it right here. And basically, he says, you guys had to pass a law to make it illegal after the fact. Like, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's in this segment right here.
Mr. President, do you feel that you owe him an apology?
No, because he did something wrong. He should have put the votes back to the state legislatures, and I think we would have had a different outcome. I really do.
But he doesn't have the...
So once again, there it is. They show it here, right here. You are authorized. Like, it's right there. Of course.
Authority to do that, as you know.
What?
She says he does not have the authority. You know he doesn't have the authority.
Back to the state legislatures, and I think we would have had a different outcome. I really do.
But he doesn't have the authority to do that, as you know.
What?
The vice president does not have the authority to reject those.
Are you ready? Let's have this one out just now, because it's interesting. Let's keep it interesting, right? I like Mike Pence very much. He's a very fine man. He's a very nice man. He made a mistake. His lawyer said, you cannot move. I called him the human conveyor belt. I said, even if the votes, I talked to his lawyer, even if the votes are absolutely fraudulent, he can't say, yes, sir, he can't send back. And the Democrats played it, and the rhinos played it. And then the election was over. They told him he couldn't do it. And Mike said to me, I can't do it. The lawyers told me he can't do it. They can't do it. But the lawyers were wrong, because right after the election, they all met, the rhinos and the Democrats, and they worked out a plan to make sure that future vice presidents don't do what I said you could do.
That's not what happened. You're referring to the Electoral Count Act. I've read that. There is no authority.
No,
legal
excuse
experts,
me.
including Republican legal experts, say that he does not have that authority, Mr.
Caitlin,
President. But I want to
why
move
did
on.
they change the law then, saying that you can't do it?
They didn't change the law. They strengthened the law because they were worried.
They strengthened the law. There it is. Oh, we fortified the election, John.
Fortified the election.
We fortified the election by strengthening laws. Let's have her say it again. Like, this is how dishonest they are. The woman has a forked snake-like tongue, and she says this with glee.
Experts, including Republican legal experts, say that he does not have that authority, Mr.
Caitlin,
President. But I want
why
to move
did they
on.
change the law then, saying that you can't do it?
They didn't change the law. They strengthened the law because they were worried about
Oh, they
presidents
strengthened it,
exploiting.
meaning you could do it.
That's not what it means.
And the crowd gets it. They get it. They laugh in her face. They're like, this is a cartoon level. But again, they don't play it live. They're going to put out their talking points and their edits. And by the way, we're going to play a pretty just great Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper goes nuts, man. He's so angry that Trump did this. He's so angry, bro. But let's let him finish this one up because this is the Pence gate.
They strengthened the law
Mike
because
had
they were
the right
worried.
to do it. They convinced him he didn't, and it was a horrible thing for our country. If you would have sent those votes back to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and other states, Wisconsin, which if you look at Wisconsin, they've virtually admitted now that the election was rigged. If
They
you
have
would have
not
sent
admitted
those
that,
votes
Mr.
back
President.
to...
They have not admitted that. She just, every time, man. Every time.
Many of those states, they would not come back in the affirmative.
100%. He's not lying. But again, am I an election denier? Am I an ultra MAGA Republican, John, because I'm pointing this stuff out?
Not allowed to ask questions, man. Not allowed to do it.
Fitch, what have you been
questions
doing?
allowed. Just accept it. They told you what it was. Eat it.
So
Just eat it.
let's go to the Tapper. Okay, that's what I want to get to.
What is Tapper doing? This guy, I haven't heard anything about this idiot. See, a lot of these personalities I lose track of completely because I don't watch anything until election coverage here comes around. And then it's nonstop of these idiots squawking.
Well, there's
Muppet.
definitely going to be some squawking going on. I can promise you right here. So this is Jake Tapper's reaction after Trump just decimates CNN.
The 2024 presidential campaign is now in the books. Good evening from New York.
Oh, from Washington, it was an interesting night. Mr. Trump's first lie was told just seconds into the night with his false familiar claim that the 2020 election was, quote, a rigged election. And the falsehoods kept coming fast and furious about the January 6th insurrection, about the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more. He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. He said people here in Washington, D.C. at Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlin as a nasty woman because she was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million, he made fun of her account of her sexual assault. And many in the audience laughed.
They did laugh because the story is ridiculously absurd. That might be worth playing too, John. Like
ridiculous.
Do you know which case we're talking about now? The E. Jean Carroll case. You know, I didn't play. I have her on CNN with Anderson Cooper as a complete and raging lunatic. Let's play that instead. That the woman, I mean, she's here we go.
She's not my type. That is what the President of the United States has just said about the woman who says he sexually assaulted her. She's not my type.
This is the person, this is 3 years ago, when this woman whose whole thing was funded, you know, by a big Democrat, I'm just saying that, comes out and says this. And she comes on, she talks about rape being sexy. You can't make this up, guys.
Which is what one says when a friend tries to fix you up. Not my type. It's not what anyone really says when accused of what amounts to rape. Not my type. That is precisely what President Trump just said, and not for the first time either. She's not my type. He just said this about his 15th and latest accuser, and we begin tonight with her account of the alleged sexual assault that she says she endured at his hands. And that alone should be compelling enough. At any other time, it would be. Yet today, it's also part of a larger and more troubling story of collective indifference. Somehow, and we'll explore the reasons why, the fact that the president has been accused 14 other times of unwanted sexual advances or outright sexual assault has numbed people to just how abnormal this is.
Joe Biden was in his son's phone contacts as pedo Peter. Joe Biden's daughter wrote in her diary that she took inappropriate showers with her father. Those are his children. Joe Biden is on film in compilations lasting 10 to 20 minutes, manhandling and sniffing children. And look, I hate even having to defend Donnie T, serial womanizer. 3 wives, beauty pageants, grabbing them by the you-know-what all over the place. What Epstein buddy. Let's be real. He was his buddy. All right? I'm not saying he's a pedophile. I'm saying there's a network. Some of those girls were overage. You would be extremely naive to think that Trump didn't know something was going on. Okay? And he didn't know to play that card. Compared to Joe Biden, the guy's a goddamn saint. And Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper's going to sit here and lecture us while sniffy dementia Joe, failure as a father, is out there, John.
These kind of accusations. When Bill Clinton was accused 2 decades ago, it shook the country. Well, now the country shrugs as if one allegation is an outrage, but 15 are a statistic. Even though he's on tape boasting about being able to get away with such assaults because he's a celebrity, even when, as in this case, the alleged assault is corroborated by 2 other people that she told at the time, back in the mid-90s.
So, yet again, like, this is so ridiculous, and it's over the top. And he actually, he's like, I don't make the rules. Celebrities get to do things. And if we can't acknowledge culturally, I'm not saying it's right, but celebrities get away with more. Celebrities get more women or men depending on what they want, John.
Notoriety gets you pretty far.
Being on a magic box, whether it's a TV or now this thing right here.
Yep.
Sorry he acknowledged reality and continues to. It's bad, I guess.
It's when writer and Elle magazine advice columnist E. Jean Carroll says this happened in a dressing room at the New York clothing store Bergdorf Goodman, just steps away from Trump Tower.
So again, it happened in a department store too. Like when Trump tells the story, it's pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
She writes about it and other painful encounters in her book, What Do We Need Men For? A Modest Proposal. We spoke just a short time ago.
Yeah, that's a sane...
I want to begin just by asking you about the latest thing that the president has said just a short time ago. He gave an interview to The Hill. He said, I'll say it with great respect. Number 1, she's not my type. Number 2, it never happened. It never happened, okay?
I love that. I am so glad I am not his type. I am so glad. This was 20 years ago.
20 years ago when she's like a 60-year-old woman. She's almost 80 at this point. Like, it just... Look, and another thing with Donnie T, he liked him a little younger. Like, allegedly, it's in the media, John, that...
Doesn't fit the MO.
Well, Melania was part of an Epstein party auditioning for Wife 3. Yeah, let's bring that up quick, because a lot of people will be like, Jason, stop hating on Trump. Melania Epstein Wife 3 party. Just type that. Oh, look, there it is. Top one. Top one. Jeffrey Epstein boasted that he played matchmaker for Donald and Melania Trump, report says. I'm not saying whether it's true or not, but I'm just saying like that doesn't look like E. Jean Carroll at 60. Just point. That's about the same time period. I don't know. People are into weird things. I don't know that Donnie T is into this, but we'll see.
And I probably was, at that moment, in that 5 minutes, the most attractive woman in Bergdorf's in that one bit of time.
And you think that's what it was about for him?
I don't know what it was about. We were having a high old time. You remember Donald Trump, hail fellow, well met, walking up and down the streets of New York, greeting everybody. Everybody liked him.
You're talking about 1995,
96. He was Shakespearean. He was great. You'd love to see him on the street. So when we met in Bergdorf's and he said, help me, advise me to find a president, I was delighted. I was thrilled. I thought, this is hilarious.
I'm wondering, the statement that he said, which he's just made, which is, she's not my type, number one, that was the number one thing.
I love that I'm not his type.
He has said that previously. There was a woman, Jessica Leeds, who came forward, and he said, I think we actually have the tape.
She fell in love with Donald Trump.
Just look at how she's I mean, look at her face. Look at her mannerisms. I mean, she looks like
meeting Donald Trump is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to her entire life.
She's an actress too,
shut
bro.
up about it.
She's an actress. She's not just a writer. Like, she's actually in, like, remember the old, you might not remember, although it's our time period, the old HBO show Dream On that used to have
like Annie Lennox.
She was in it topless. Like, she was in the show topless. Like, I don't remember whether or not they actually showed her breasts or not, but the show was notorious for it. And basically, the premise even then, and this is a show from like the early 90s. Dream On. In fact, let's do it live so people can understand how old this show is. Dream On HBO. Okay, so 1990 is season 1. Okay, wow. and it went, I think 4 or 5. So it goes from 90 to maybe 96. There it is. 6 seasons. She's in there, and the premise of the reason that she's in there is that Martin Tupper, the main character, that wily character that's just with all these women, he gets blinded by something and he's in the hospital. And he ends up falling in love with a nurse because of her voice. And when he first takes off his eye things, there's 2 nurses in the room, and there's the one young, attractive nurse. And then there's the older lady who he's fallen in love with, and he immediately thinks it's that one, but it's not. And she's already an old lady. That's the gag. In 1990. Okay, so by 96, guys, probably not I mean, she looked old in the show there, but let's continue with Crazy Lady.
He said, and it echoes similar language. Let's just play what he said about Jessica Leeds in front of a crowd.
When you looked at that horrible woman last night, you said, I don't think so. I don't think so. She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you. Man. You don't know. That would not be my first choice.
He also called Miss Universe.
I cannot, these pearl clutching creeps. They're such, I can't believe somebody said something like, oh my God, the outrage. It's just so pathetic.
Bro, I mean, we got to admit he's funny. I'm glad we're having a good, fun
Hilarious.
show. You know, this wasn't too serious of a show. I get it. But it is. It's these people fail upwards for this collectivist takeover that's affecting us all. Don was right. We're going to have more inflation. That Mayorkas saying that people are going to be turned away and arrested at the border, I'll believe it when I see it.
There's been steady job layoffs here and there. 40,000 here, 90,000 there.
At tech companies, John. There. And by the way, you know what they're not telling you about that.
And the AI is growing. So now there's a lot of jobs being replaced.
Well, what do you think the Screen Actors Guild strike is about? It's exactly what it's about. We've been covering it this week. That's what they're worried about. They want to negotiate so they can't use AI because they're already starting to use AI scripts. So
that's impossible.
You can't. I know. Seriously. You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. There's no way you can, and that will destroy the industry because everybody will go outside of the industry and be independent in order to do things.
Yep. And by the way, if this keeps going, they're considering using AI and scabs for the late night talk shows at the very least. So
they probably are already. Mm-hmm. They probably have been for a while. This shit's so dry and awful.
It is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. So big card tomorrow, John. Big cardy card.
Bare knuckles or the Bellator.
I'm Bellator first, right? Hold on.
Bellator. Mousasi and Edwards. That's going to be a good fight.
And what was that? Brett Primus versus Bernal.
Yep.
That's a fun fight too, man.
Bernal is good. Douglas Lima's back in action. I don't know who this guy is he's fighting.
Who's Douglas Lima fighting? I don't know. I guess I got
Van Steenis.
Let's see.
He's 14-2. I don't know.
That would be a huge win.
They're going to fight at 185 though.
Okay. I have seen this kid. He is tough. I don't know if he's Douglas Lima tough, but he's had a lot of time off too. So when is this on tomorrow? When do the prelims start?
Gauti, Musa. It's early fight, I think.
Okay.
This
I mean,
early
it's early
fight,
on
it's early
Saturday
fight.
too.
It's like starting at like 9 West Coast.
Oh wow.
The prelims, the early prelims.
Okay. So that means probably 11 or 12. And then on Saturday, we got this. We'll go to BKFC in a minute.
I'm going to miss some of the Saturday UFC card because it starts at the main event starts at noon, and that's when my class starts at 11.
Gotcha.
And then I got to take the kids to a scouts thing. So I want to probably catch some of the early fights, but that's it. So my focus is going to be on the Bellators and the bare knuckles this weekend.
Well, let's check out BKFC quick, and when that's on.
That's going to be, I think, 4 p.m. left coast is when the prelims are going to kick off.
Oh, I
don't recognize a lot of the guys on here. Nguyen, I recognize. She's fought a bunch. And then Soto and Good John. I recognize Good John. I've seen him fight before.
I feel like I've seen Jenkins, the skinny guy, before. I think I've seen Caruso, too. Skinny guys, man, sometimes they're just wild in there.
Yeah.
They got that reach.
Skinny guys, because a lot of times they're long, and the punches come from strange angles, and the timing is a little bit different. You think that punch is coming, but it takes a little bit longer.
Fitch, I'm sweating in here. My shades fell down for the 3rd time today on the left side here, everybody. And I'm going to go have a brewski and hutch with the boys after this. Tell people what you're up to, how they can support you, and where they can find everything. John Fitch.
Yep. Go to johnfitch.net. Sign up for the newsletter. Go to the Gum Road. I got programs. My practical self-defense course is available right now. Learn that. Improve on physicality. Get stronger. Make sure you're not going to get taken.
That is the shot right there. Why isn't that your profile pic for everything? The best is the shirt. I mean, don't get me wrong. The pink bands and everything, that's fantastic. But I like the work with the 80s symbol thing in there. You know me, guys. I try to take the weekends off and watch fights. I'm going to be doing most of that. But if you want, there's going to be extra content, probably Bilderberg driven. And that's going to be coming up this weekend at redvoicemedia.com. Fitch, a pleasure as always. We will see you next week for Mixed Martial Mindset, everybody.
Check you later.